Okay, why don't we get going? This is our monthly town hall meeting. It's the last Sunday of every month. And I really appreciate all our attendees for joining today. And I'm looking forward to have a good dialogue, talking about issues. And what we try to do is we dig into the state of affairs over the last month, over the last few weeks. Though we are not quite restricted to them, we talk about anything, and it's a little bit of 60 minutes of Ask Anything from Rishi. And I try to be very transparent and candid in putting together my responses. So it's great to have all of you. Why don't we get going? What I typically do is I'll start off with a quick intro of myself. And currently a council member in the city of Saratoga, and work in the high tech. I work for a big data analytics AI/ML company, and always been in the data space. So I say that in the world of tech, I'm solving the data challenges for the world. And in the world of public service, I am looking to solve the people challenges, the challenges of the people. That's what I seek to do. And this is likely the reason why we were re-elected with the most votes in 64 years of election history of Saratoga. We took on challenges that were found daunting by others, and we managed to bring some resolution. And for example, we dropped burglaries by 50%, and which is still the largest drop compared to any other Silicon Valley city. And our burglaries have remained down at that level over the last few years. And I believe that people are looking for problem solvers. People are looking for somebody who is going to address their challenge, which is the reason why I stepped into public service. Otherwise, why would a high-tech executive like me get out and work in a volunteer job of a city council member? But what I discovered was that as I was solving problems, I was discovering happiness. A deep joy was emerging from within me. And I said, okay, let's follow that joyful state and let's keep working on behalf of the people. And so last year in the run for Congress, we gained 127,000 votes, more than any other challenger in the last 30 years. And if we just had 45,000 more votes, we would be in Washington. But the pandemic slowed us down. We couldn't have conversations at people's doors like we enjoy doing. And that's the nature of politics. And as they say, when you have to climb Mount Everest, you have to hit the first base camp, which is what we did last year. And we are building up. We had a very successful last few months of our campaign, and we have made tremendous progress. And we believe we are on track to win this race, obviously with your support. And so I notice folks who have joined this town hall, some of the folks are regulars. They join pretty much every month. And I see some new names as well. And it's okay whether you are a Rishi Kumar supporter or not. We welcome you all. And hopefully my purpose of the discussion today would be to hopefully get you to consider supporting our run, and based upon all the issues we'll talk about and my stance on them. And the reason why I'm challenging Congressman Eshu, I respect her 30 years of service, but there are big looming challenges ahead. And these challenges are with our housing, traffic, homelessness. California has the most homeless, the unhoused, more than any other state, actually greater than the rest of the 49 states combined. It's a very staggering number. I mean, we need to work on that. And it's the huge problem on hand. But also we look at the big tech privacy issues that are currently going on. We also see the tech exodus. People are leaving California, people are leaving Silicon Valley, companies are leaving, billionaires are leaving, engineers are leaving. Seems like every street I'm at, there are at least a couple families that have already left or planning to leave. As you know, I'm knocking on doors every evening, meeting our neighbors in different neighborhoods in Los Altos, Palo Alto, Mountain View, in Saratoga, San Jose, and Los Gatos, Campbell. So all over, meeting people. And what I hear is people are very unhappy with the state of affairs, and they are leaving. So tech exodus is a big challenge. California fires is a big one, and we still don't have a solution. And it seems like with the recurring drought, we have a fire problem that repeats every single year. If you remember the orange skies of last year, that was pretty scary. And that actually happened in November and December. So we are still in September. We cannot stop worrying about the fire season in California now. And then when it comes to the drought, we talk about a need for water infrastructure. And there is currently no plan. There is no vision plan. And on the Santa Clara Valley Water Commission, we asked the Valley Water Board to send out a letter to ABAC that we see this push for high density homes, but we should be cognizant of a plan for water, which is not quite there yet. And unfortunately, that letter was not sent by the Valley Water Board, but we just cannot go about putting high density homes, high density housing based upon SB 9, SB 10 that was recently passed and turned into law without a plan for housing traffic, for water, and for schools or sewer. These are challenges we have on hand, and we need some pragmatism in California. And that's the reason why I'm running. Congresswoman Eshu has been there for 30 years. She'll be 80 years old next year. And I wonder, how the energy would play out with respect to finding solutions for these tough challenges. And nothing against age, but it's just a question of how you are able to figure out an approach to fix some of these problems. For the last 20, 30 years, not much has been done. We moved to California in the year 2000 from Michigan, my wife and I, and what we realized, the traffic was just a huge mess. And we were renting a house in South San Jose by the Silver Creek area. And my wife was commuting to Cisco, and it would take her almost an hour to get to Cisco. And what we have seen is that now, obviously living in Saratoga, it takes me 17 minutes to get to my work. It should take me 17 minutes. But in the pre-pandemic days, it would take me 35 minutes because I had the carpool lane. And without the carpool lane, it would take me 45 minutes. But if I decide to take the light rail or some sort of a transportation system, then it would take me almost an hour and a half to get to work. So there are big challenges that need solutions. And that's the reason why we are challenging Councilman Eshu in the upcoming election, but also because Silicon Valley has never had a tech savvy leader, never, ever, ever in hundreds of years. We have never had a tech savvy leader. And working for companies like IBM, Cisco, we have a keen sense of the innovation economy. And my plan is to grow the economy, to create more jobs, create more opportunities, and bridge the income inequality gap. So that, in a nutshell, is the reason for me running and some of the areas that we need to fix with your support, of course. So why don't there are some key points of differentiators of Congresswoman Eshu and myself. And one is it's always been about getting things done. Like I said, as a council member of Saratoga, I took on challenges because as a mechanical engineer, I believe that I can apply my problem-solving skills to put it to good use as an elected leader, and which I continue till today. Recently, there was some talk within our council to raise taxes with a parcel tax or a bond measure to see how we can create a revenue stream for the deficit that we have with road repair. And I voted no. I was the only council member that voted no. And 4 of my colleagues wanted to go ahead and they started moving forward. But after about 6 months, the project has been put on hold. And and I did not flinch or buckle, because I said, look, raising taxes is not a good idea. Let's figure out how we can optimize our public sector dollars. So I seek to bring a little bit of the high-tech efficiency to my role as a council member and to my future role as your congressman. Raising taxes is not the way. When we had a Parks and Recs director retired, we were paying him top dollars. And my suggestion to our city manager was, let's not fill this role. Let's try to figure out, how we can still make it work with our existing staff members. And that's the optimization. A small government, optimized public sector is what I seek to do. And secondly, I don't ever sell out. We reject all the PAC money, all the special interest group money. We keep the focus squarely upon people. And when you look at my stint in the city council, a developer would show up offering $5,000 as campaign contributions. And I would say, no, I'm not interested in that, because my run is for the people and I don't want anybody to sort of buy me out. And I wouldn't say the same of Congressman Eshoo, because she is the #1 recipient of pharma money in the US Congress. She's the #1. #2 is Kevin McCarthy. So that's the commitment that I seek to bring to Congress. Don't sell out, and do the right thing. And let's see if there's anything else. And so what I like to believe that I bring is being in front of the different challenges of the community, taking proactive stances, and seeing how we can make change happen in a positive way that benefits our community. So that's my agenda. So let's go to questions. And the first question I see is from Lorraine. And Lorraine is talking about the tax increase proposal. That was the email that I sent out yesterday, the largest tax increase since 1968. And so she says, I understand you are against tax increases from your last email. What would you cut? What would you like to do? And, I talked about it, my record in the city council. I'm absolutely against tax increases. We should figure out a way to optimize our public sector dollars. For example, we were spending $290 million a day in Afghanistan. And this money was been pocketed by corrupt Afghanistan officials, by contractors, and our tax dollars were being wasted. And then I see our folks struggling out here, especially in a pandemic. It's tough. It's getting tougher. The income inequality is growing bigger and bigger year to year. And this is not what I would like to see. We spent a lot of money, $2 trillion, and in fact, total of $10 trillion over 20 years in wars. We need to, and in fact, $745 billion was approved as our defense budget. It's more of an offense budget because I checked, we have over 800 bases across the world. And it's time to bring some of our troops home. And it's taking a toll upon America. And we need to audit every single department and try to figure out, areas that we can cut. Our budget grows every year in the federal government, and we have to figure out, how we can cut the fat. And there are many ways to do it. And all we need is the appetite to do it. And Lorraine, what I can promise you is that as your congressman, I will call out these expenditures that are not quite valid, and see how we can optimize the public sector to make it work better for the American people. Okay, next question. Renee is asking, I saw your social media ad. 30 years is good enough. So I believe we have an ad running on social media, which you can find at facebook.com/vote-rishi. And we talk about the fact that 30 years of Congressman Eshoo is good enough, time for change. And what Renee is saying is that Benjamin Franklin was inventing till 90 years of age. We shouldn't discriminate based on age, right? And Renee, I absolutely agree with you that we should not discriminate based on age. In fact, that's not what we are saying. It's not about age. What we are talking about is the fact that we need problem-solving skills. We currently have a lot of career politicians who stay on forever. I mean, Dianne Feinstein will be 92 years old in 2024. I mean, our politicians seemingly keep running and running and running. And they keep getting elected because there's a lot of partisan politics that goes out in Washington. And as long as you have the right political rhetoric, you're going to win your race. And that's not the way it should be. We should be little and analytical based upon impact that our politicians are bringing to the table, problems that you're solving. So if Congressman Eshu, with only 4 trivial bills in the last 30 years, that bar is very, very low. And what we believe is in my first 2 years, we will actually do more than what Congressman Eshu has done in 30 years because the bar is low, simple. And we need problem-solving leaders. We need leaders who will step up and take up the big challenges, who will not sell out. And that's why we say that 30 years is too long. Okay, this is from Venkat. And Venkat says this: when World War II ended, the British Empire was bankrupt. The Bretton Woods Accord eliminated British currency as a medium for world trade. It established the dollar as the medium of exchange. And the Chinese are waiting to change that. They are wanting to take over. We cannot overspend. We have to pay our debts. And that is, economics 101. And today, our debt ceiling, for example, has been rising. It has gone up every single year. During Ronald Reagan's run, that was apparently the #1 issue, where it was rising to $1 trillion. And we have raised it 100 times over, and we'll raise it again, looks like now. So we are borrowing money, and so there is a challenge with this. And we can keep raising the limit, but at the end of the day, we have to address the deficit. We had a surplus during President Bill Clinton's time, and we have to do our best to fix this. It's a huge problem, and like Venkat talks about, this can be already with the debacle in Afghanistan. America is losing its superpower status. And we have to fix the deficit for sure. I totally agree with you, Venkat. Celine says that taxes in California is now pretty much the same as France. But in France, we had a pretty nice social net. Where is California spending all the tax dollars? We are 47th in education, and we have water, electricity issues like third world countries. Our freeways look like third world too, with all the garbage flying around. California is a mess. What can you and I do? I think, Celine, you're on the right track by calling it out. We cannot be looking at California through rose-tinted lenses. We have to see the problem, and there are huge problems. And we need our elected leaders stepping up. And to some extent, California is blue, and Sacramento is blue with the Democrats and basically dominating the Assembly and the Senate. But we need to fix some of these challenges. So water is a big challenge. We need to expand the reservoirs. We have a plan for that. You can go to rishikumar.com/water. PG&E is a big problem for us. When the electricity started a couple of years back, we had the what do you call it? What was that? PSPP or something, the power shutdowns that we were having. And PG&E was basically, if the wind was 5 miles an hour or 10 miles or 30 miles an hour, they were shutting down electricity with the fear of fire. And people were talking about third world countries, how they don't have electricity, and California is going through the same pain. So we need some fixes, and we need to figure out, if France is enjoying a really nice social net with the Medicare for All program, free public school education, And why are we not getting the same benefit of the tax dollars? So you are spot on, Celine. We need to start speaking up. What should we do? We should start speaking up, and we should elect the right type of leaders. We have to analyze our candidates running for office, and we have to look at how exactly they are working, incumbents, how exactly they are solving problems. Okay, let's go to Rob. Rob is saying, should America recognize the Taliban terrorist government? Would you support Taliban's request to speak at the UN General Assembly? It's a terrorist nation, and I think, Rob, we should not recognize the Taliban government. And in fact, we should impose economic sanctions. We cannot be supporting a terrorist nation, and we have to purge terrorism from the face of planet Earth. It doesn't do anyone good. We have to create peace. We spend 20 years of our money there, $2 trillion. And I believe we should step back, evaluate everything, and make sure that Afghanistan will find a way out of the mess themselves. The people of the country should take charge. And if it is not working out in the interest of the people are fleeing Afghanistan. But many a times what happens is there is unrest on the street, and people will take it in their own hands, and we should let it play out. And my take is, we should not recognize a terrorist government. Karen says that crime is emerging as the biggest America challenge. On my street, they are breaking into cars consistently. When we report to the cops, they don't show up. What is going on? What can we do? So Karen, yes, you're right. The New York City race was all about crime. And this is how Eric is on track to win the race as the next mayor of New York City. And with all the defunding of police, I don't believe in the defunding of police. That's not what I seek to do. We do need to reinvest some of the dollars that are invested for law enforcement to bringing in the social workers to address challenges. But we need to keep the focus with law enforcement and seeing how we can drop crime everywhere. That was my record in the city of Saratoga. We dropped burglaries by 50%, like I said. And by launching neighborhood watch programs, allowing our community to connect, communicate, and collaborate. And we figured out different mechanisms. If you go to my website, rishikumar.com/safety, you can download the top 25 tips for your city, rishikumar.com/safety. And we have innovated to fix the burglary problem. Right now, I hear they are stealing catalytic converters that takes $2,000 to fix. And apparently they're selling them in the market for $200. When we go to AMC Mercado, we roll down the windows and we leave the car open because they just smash cars randomly. This is not what we had a few years ago. Our situation has gone quite bad, and it needs a focus by every city and by every elected leader to turn this around. And Karen, what I promise you is, as your congressman, I will still keep the focus on crime, and we will do our utmost to drop burglaries, drop crime in every city. Every city. That's what we will do. Please visit rishikumar.com/safety. So Sandra is saying we spend more money in Afghanistan than we did on the Marshall Plan to rebuild all of America. What would you do differently? So I would like to reference, I was watching the Netflix documentary, I would say, and it was called The Turning Point. And in this, I would like to quote this. John Sopko, we spend too much money too fast in a small country with too little oversight. We need to audit. We need to conduct an audit over the money that was spent in Afghanistan over 20 years. And we need to make sure that we will not repeat the same mistakes again. I'm against war. If you look at Congressman Eshu, she has pretty much supported every war. Go to rishikumar.com/war, and you will find a policy statement. I can promise you that I will be very cautious in sending out American troops in different parts of the world. And when you look at Congressman Barbara Lee, she has had that same cautionary approach. And this is what I would do differently. And we need to create an accountable system. We need to ensure that we are not sending American troops in harm's way. And we need to do the right thing for America. We have spent $10 trillion in the last 20 years. I would not be in support of that. giving a blank check. With the war of terror, we essentially gave a blank check. And I think we were in almost 18, 19, I wouldn't say invaded, but we were in 18, 19 countries based upon that. And we need to pull back. We need to figure out, what's good for America. And we need to stay focused on the well-being of all Americans. Otherwise, unfortunately, when we go out and disrupt other countries, if you look at 1979 Mujahideens, America was out there. We all know that. We were doing the little counter punch to Russia, but then Al-Qaeda happened, and then we had to face the brunt of that with 9/11. So we have to be very careful what we do. Jenny says, Pentagon declares tragic mistake. Kabul drone strike of August 29 killed innocent American aid workers, 9 family members, not ISIS. How can we look ourselves in the eye after this? You're absolutely, Jenny. I was shocked. And initially, it seems like it was declared as a successful operation. And then it was, upon investigation, it wasn't. And, we have to evaluate. We have to run through and see with every drone attack, what exactly happened. Is this a technology that we want to use? And we need to conduct a congressional hearing on this, because we have been using it since the time of President Obama. We have to evaluate the efficiency of this drone attacks. And then we just cannot take the innocent lives on our hands. America should be very careful. There is bad karma. And a little more cautious approach is what we need. Lloyd says, I'm angry that the governor signed the 2 bills the day after the recall election. I'm upset. These bills are going to be a huge problem for my city and my neighborhood. What can we do? I believe Lloyd is talking about SB 9, SB 10. And we have talked about it enough in our earlier town hall meetings. I've been speaking up against high density housing for the last 3 years. I'm for managed growth with a plan that includes water, housing, with traffic, with schools, with sewer. It needs to be based upon an urban plan. We just cannot go put homes and housing without like no breaks in place. And the North 40 project is an example. Los Altos is coming up with another project. It's happening in pretty much every part of Silicon Valley. And so what can we do? Please continue to speak up. Please engage with the housing element discussions that are going on in your city, Lloyd. And also, please stay tuned. Apparently, there is a ballot measure being proposed to roll back SB 9, SB 10. And that will likely go on the ballot, not likely this year, but probably next year. So, and these projects will take time for them to take off. So we have some sort of a cushion, but the ballot measure does sound like the right idea, and we should try to go down this path. Okay, so let's see. Are there any other questions? I don't see any other questions. All right. So why don't we wrap this up? I really appreciate all of you joining. Please go to rishikumar.com. The search box works great. And if you put in any word of your choice in that search box at rishikumar.com, that will uncover a policy paper. And if you don't find a policy paper, please send us an email. The email address is at the bottom of the homepage. It's campaign@rishi2020.com, 2022.com. And we would love to answer your questions. So again, thank you so much for taking the time. It's a beautiful day. Yesterday, I was out there at a Sunnyvale event, and it seems like we had 100,000 people there. People are getting a little bit more and more comfortable with the pandemic. They're out there. It seems like a normal world. And I hope we can finally put the pandemic behind us and get back to normalcy, where we'll have face-to-face town hall meetings. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I really appreciate it. And please reach out if there's anything. And we are always seeking campaign contributions. Please do take 2 minutes at rishikumar.com and contribute your dollars towards a campaign. We'll put it to good use. We don't have any paid staffers. It's all volunteer driven. And we would really appreciate your support. Thank you so much. Enjoy the day. Bye.